Come on in, welcome to my home. Before you buy, okay, wait. Today we are really going to talk about before you buy something. How this video came about was as I'm getting ready to redo my office, well, so I've already started redoing my office, but we're now looking at some bigger pieces. Things like the shelves that I want to replace in my office. There's a whole wall of them. And before I get rid of the shelves that are there, and I get new shelves, I really want to think about what it is I'm doing. Because we have a tendency to just think, hey, I'll just go get new shelves, then if they work, they work, if they don't work, they don't work, and I'll just get another set of shelves. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, hang on. We will talk about the luxury of being able to make mistakes. That's going to be a whole nother video. But in this video, I want to talk about thinking about something before you actually buy it, because there are lots of things to consider. While I'm not a major environmentalist, I do sort of care about this planet because just like you, I live here. And I'd like to have other generations be able to live here without, sort of destroying it. So I am looking at the long term. What can I do for the long term that I'm not going to have to keep replacing? These shelves that are there now, I have had for many years. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Is it a bad thing? No, keeping shelves for a long time is not a bad thing. However, they have become not as sturdy. I mean, it's just like everything. They sort of get loose, and well, it isn't like everything. Because as I did in my one video where I talked about the story that my house tells, well, I have some pieces of furniture that are here that are quite old, and they're still really solid, and I mean super solid, but like the shelves that I have are not. Why is that? Did I do something wrong? Because these were shelves that they're either called flat pack or something along those lines, where I was the one who put them together. They're made with particle board, and then they have some sort of veneer on them, or laminate, or something along those lines. But you get the idea. Did I do something wrong? Well, probably, but not necessarily. Except for maybe I shouldn't have bought those shelves. There's a term that people talk about which is called fast fashion. It is the quick manufacture of clothing which is going to stay trendy or in style for a short period of time, and then it's not in style, it's not trendy. Usually it's made with cheaper materials so that it can be turned around really quickly, and most people who buy it will wear it for the short time that it's in style and then get rid of it. Fast furniture goes along with those sort of things. They're made cheaply, it's mass manufactured so that way people can afford fast furniture, they put it together, they like it for a while, they use it, and then it's not built to last. Not built to last all that long at all. Even if the pieces aren't bad, when people go to move or do things, those are the pieces that they get rid of because they really didn't spend that much money for them. Not spending that much money for them is a big relative term, because there are those of us who've had fast furniture for a long time, and we've used those pieces of furniture for a super long time. I know with me, when I look at something, I really am looking at, will I be able to keep it for the long duration? But what is the long duration? Is that 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? I'd like to think that I'm getting pieces that are going to last me a lifetime, maybe 2 lifetimes, and guess what? This particle board stuff really isn't going to last. So what do? Do I invest in what's called slow furniture? You're now asking yourself what slow furniture is. Slow furniture is furniture which is made usually by hand or some sort of process like that. It's built out of solid wood with, age-old construction techniques. It might be, it's usually hand manufactured, done with love and care, but that's beside the point. Basically what it is it's solid furniture. It's furniture which is very sturdy and it's built to last. That's the important part. You're not going to buy a piece of slow furniture and then just be like, meh, I'm going to get rid of it now because it's out of style. You might, which is all going to be in the whole other video about if you have the luxury of being able to make mistakes, but that's a whole nother video. We'll get into that later. You are investing in the piece, and some of these pieces can be super, super nice, like some of the pieces that I have. But some of us can't afford to invest in slow furniture because it can be very, very expensive. So what do you do? I mean, yeah, I can build my own furniture. I do have the ability to not injure myself while using a screwdriver and a saw. That's really cool, but is that the way to go? Maybe. I mean, I do have some design background. I can design my furniture, I can build it, but not everybody can do that. Not everyone can afford slow furniture, and that's absolutely all right. The thing that you want to think about is invest in something that you can afford comfortably. Don't feel guilty about not being able to afford the most expensive thing, because nothing's worse than putting yourself into a position where you bought this investment piece, or you think you're going to buy this investment piece, and then you're like eating just nothing for weeks and months because you spent all that money on this. Don't do that. You want to put yourself into the position where you're actually going to research some of what you do. You're going to look at your furniture and the furniture pieces and say, is this going to last me for a lifetime? Is this going to last me for a good while? Is this made out of solid material that isn't going to warp and bend after just a little time? Because if it's not, you're just going to have to buy it. And a lot of these manufacturers of fast furniture, or whatever you want to call it, literally have a business model where they want you to keep buying new stuff. If their business model is of keep buying new stuff, that's where the problem is. So what do? Well, it's just like everything. Really look at a piece and say, is this piece sort of timeless? It might be. It really might be sort of timeless. Does everything that you have to buy have to be timeless? Not really. It really doesn't have to be timeless. But if you're going to buy something that isn't timeless, buy something that's small. Something that is fairly sturdy. Well, it needs to be sturdy, but small, something that maybe you can store away, because guess what? Some of those trending pieces have a tendency to come back around. So buy things that you're going to be like, hey, this is a small item, I can wrap it up, store it away. This is a small item that my local thrift store, charity store will be willing to take, because a lot of charity stores or thrift stores don't like to take big pieces. They hate that because they don't have room for it. Around here, we have a lot of people who move a lot, and I do mean a lot. So you have people who have a tendency to buy cheaper furniture because they know they're not going to keep it, because they know they're not going to take it with them. So our charity stores and thrift stores generally don't want that sort of stuff. They would rather have the antiques, those sort of things which have been around, which are going to last. Maybe you're going to find a piece that you can refinish. Refinishing is a great option. Is that the option that I can take on my pieces? But I hate to damage a piece because I have specific requirements for what I want. So am I probably going to have to build it? Yeah, probably. Am I going to show you how I'm going to design and build it? Oh yeah, you know I'm going to show you how I design and build it. Is it worth buying? Is it worth not buying it? Even the decor pieces that you see in my house, it's a decorative bowl, which is really nice and everything, but it's beginning to chip. The red is just a coating on it, so it's beginning to chip away. That wasn't a good idea. Had I really been thinking about it, I would have bought a red serving bowl, so that way it could actually be washed and cared for a little bit better, and then I could use it for more than one purpose. If you buy a unitasker, that thing which only does one thing, the only unitasker I can think of which is really handy to have is a fire extinguisher. Fire extinguishers are really good to have. Buying something which is only a unitasker for other things, my decorative bowl can only be a decorative bowl. Should have bought the serving bowl. My shelves are going to have to be so that I can adjust them so that way they are ready to take larger pieces, smaller pieces, so I can put lights in them, so I can do all those sorts of things that I might want to. Really think about how you're going to use something. There are some steps that I take. I ask myself, do I want that item? Usually it's a yes, because if I've gotten that far, yeah. Then I ask myself, am I going to use that item? Ooh, that's where that one becomes a little bit trickier, because there are some things that I do want that realistically I'm never going to use, and there's also distinction in use. Visually using something is using it. So if you buy a decorative item and you are actually putting it out, you are using it. You are visually using it. Then the third thing is, do I need it? Well, maybe. I mean, some of the things which you see in my backgrounds and that sort of stuff, did I need them? No. Do I use them? Yeah, that's the whole big thing. I did use it. I do like it. I will pull it out. I don't feel like I've wasted the money, but the more ways that I can use it, the more likely I am to keep it. That's why I'm really, really big on the whole get something which is sturdy that you can use for a long time. And you're really going to use it for a long time. And you're maybe even to the point where you're saying to yourself, hey, I wonder if I can pass this down on to other people, or if I can sell this at a later date to other people, because it's going to be that strong and that sturdy. And maybe you're going to even say to yourself, well, what if I built this myself? That'd be really cool. You could have the satisfaction of building something yourself, and that's sort of where we're going to go with this a little later on. But if you're just building something for the sake of building something with no idea of how you're actually going to use it, then I don't know. Because I've seen a lot of YouTube channels that do that, where every week they do some sort of craft item, or they do some sort of, I don't know, something where they build it or make it or bake it or cook it or whatever, and then they don't actually use it. I don't want to do that. I want to make these things, and that's sort of why I got out of cooking, because I was cooking a lot of things and I wasn't using it. I want to help this environment. I don't want to be using resources that we don't have to use. So the things that I'm doing, I'm looking at this on how can I not waste. And one of the ways I can not waste is really, really think about how I'm going to use these shelves, how I'm going to, use them in the future. Can I future-proof the shelves so that I thought about, even buying shelves that I could just build into the wall and have it that way. But what happens if I move? I don't want these built into the wall. I want these so that if I decide to move, they can come with me. That was really important. They had to be able to come with me, which means that if they're able so I can take them apart, I want to be able to take them apart. I don't want it to fall apart every time I take it apart, and that's one of the things that fast furniture has a tendency to do. It's one of those things that you can only build one time successfully, and then the next time it sort of built okay, sort of didn't. But how do you figure out what's good investment and what's not good investment? First, look at your budget. Make sure that it is in your budget. Next, see about how sturdy it is. How is it put together? Is it nailed together? Is it glued together? Wood glue is a good thing. It holds things nice and strong. Wood glue has a tendency to not let you take it apart. So that is something to think about. How are you going to move it if you do build something like that? When I look at something, I am literally thinking, is this going to last? So that I'm not wasting my money and wasting resources that the planet doesn't have to waste. Are you looking at that? Do you think about these sort of things and be like, yeah, well, maybe. Well, if you are, let me know down in the comments. Now, if you are part of my Patreon, you're going to get to see the whole design process. Now, if you're interested in Patreon, check that out. You get to the behind the scenes stuff. We'll probably be seeing some plans for some shelves coming up. And also, if you are not interested in that sort of thing, that's really cool, and that is fine. Like, share this video, comment, because that lets the algorithm know what it is that you actually like this, and it should share it more. If you have some ideas of things that you would like to see happen, because like I said, my office is a work in progress. If you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. And once again, I want to thank all the people on my Patreon who help really make these videos happen, and I hope I get to see you the next time you stop by.